Now, SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena joins us for more on President Joe Biden's decision to withdraw from the November election. Good afternoon, Sophie. What a day it's been in the newsrooms across the world. Commentators have stated how risky and unprecedented such a move is, given how late in the race Joe Biden has dropped out. What exactly led to this decision? Because the calls have been mounting. But he was defiant just last week when you and I were speaking at the NATO summit, saying he won't withdraw. So what exactly happened between then and now?
More members of the party continued to put pressure on him to step aside. We are told that even the most trusted supporters of Joe Biden were very firm in terms of asking him behind the scenes to step aside. But we know that currently his aides are working on a statement that we expect that Joe Biden will deliver as soon as he is out of isolation, where he is going to outline the reasons why he took such a decision. For now, the speculation is that the pressure was mounting, including from high-ranking members of the party, and therefore he decided to step aside. On the other hand, you had big business in that country, investors and influential people talking to him behind the scenes that he must step aside. But we'll get better information when he delivers that speech or that address to the nation as soon as he's out of isolation.
All right. You touch on the aides, Sophie. We understand that some of Biden's closest aides were actually given a minute's notice. They had no idea that he was set to withdraw. And actually, I just saw now the visuals just behind you. Those are, in fact, live visuals from the White House. So what of the aides? Were none of them aware? They were caught off guard?
Well, many were caught off guard, but we are told that the Vice President, Kamala Harris, was informed on time about this decision. I think President Biden took this decision after consulting with his family members, and he was advised to continue with that decision. And therefore, particularly for the junior staff at the White House, there was no information, and they got to know just minutes before he released that statement. I think he didn't want this to go to the media before he had informed very important people in that country, particularly senior high-ranking members of the party.
Then to Kamala Harris. Biden has endorsed her. When we last spoke, you had stated that it seemed America was not ready for a female president, let alone a black one. Now, beyond this position, or at least beyond this point, where Biden has now withdrawn and endorsed her, what has been the reception?
Well, currently, when you look within the party, she has received a lot of support, even though some senior members of the party didn't endorse her outright. When you look at the former Speaker of the Congress, Nancy Pelosi, what they chose to do was to commend or congratulate Biden for taking this decision, but also in terms of the work he has done in that country. People like the former President Barack Obama also staying out of this endorsement. Many people are saying that happened because they don't want to be seen as influencing the convention that is supposed to take place next month, and where a nominee or a candidate for the Democrats will get a endorsement from people who will be at the convention. And currently, what she was doing yesterday and today was to call influential delegates who will be at the convention to get support, but also speaking to influential people, for example, the Black caucus within the Congress, because they have a very strong voice, the Latino caucus, to get more support, and influential people who might not be in politics. And therefore, but when you look at the culture of the United States of America, you can say it's a first world country, but they are struggling with issues of sexism, patriarchy, and discrimination. It's still there, it's rife, and in recent times, we've seen how America has regressed, where the right wing supporters have kind of gained traction in that country. And now when you look at what happened to Hillary Clinton when she was contesting this highest office in the land, she had to deal with those issues of gender discrimination, much as she got the support from a popular vote. But when you look at the Electoral College, she was not able to get a nod, and therefore Trump became the president. So whether it is a first world country all over the world, issues of gender inequality and discriminations are still there. That is why you have a UN Women that is dealing and conscientizing the world about the discrimination women are facing. Even when you look in South Africa, when are we going to have a woman president? When you look on the continent, we only have one with executive powers, the president of Tanzania.
But I suppose for some it would be quite heartening how business has responded to this, because they've taken to her candidacy, because we were reporting just a bit earlier on that funding has surged since Biden withdrew.
Yes, indeed. And after an hour, Biden has made that announcement and the endorsement. She was able to raise millions of US dollars. And I think right now there's even more. And that spoke to the support from investors, because you know that in the United States of America, investors are very, very influential. When you look at the Silicon Valley right now, the techno hub, you see that area divided between the Democrats and the Republicans. We saw Elon Musk and the others endorsing the Republican candidate, Donald Trump. You have others whom I expect that they will endorse Kamala Harris. When you look at what who they supported during a race between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And therefore, you have to take into consideration the influence the investors in the United States of America have in terms of these kinds of decisions.
And then, Sophie, a quick one in closing. AGOA, the summit takes place this week, starting on the 24th. As South Africa, we're in a very precarious position, given the May vote to review the bilateral relations with South Africa. What do we know about the message that our delegation is taking to the US?
Well, we know that after hosting AGOA last year, South Africa was firm, and other countries on the continent who are benefiting from AGOA, that South Africa must be included, because remember, the African countries, some of them don't benefit directly from AGOA, but it is true what South Africa is doing. For example, when you look at the automobile sector, where we assemble these cars, and therefore you ask other countries to supply certain products that will assist you to have this car. For example, the seats from Botswana, from Ivory Coast, and therefore African countries will be there, and they are going to push that South Africa must not be excluded. And also there's a push for the extension for at least 10 years. But finally, it is the Congress that is going to decide, because this is a legislation. It's not an agreement between the Biden administration and these countries. It is a legislative process.
Sophie, as always, thank you very much for your reportage. That's News International Editor Sophie Mokoena speaking to us.